Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome to East Meets West, the live NBA Draft Reaction Edition, at least for the Pistons and the Warriors. Y'all teams might get a little jibber jabber here and there, but you know, if it's important. But yeah, welcome to the live draft show. We come here courtesy of the Warriors representative, the great Conrado Pascual,
That's right,
rocking
man.
his
Dub
Warriors
Nation.
gear.
There you
I'm not
go.
as festive today. Where's my hat?
Nah, man. You
Jersey ain't
guys,
even up.
you guys made more noise. You made bigger noise on day one of the draft, right? Warriors didn't have a first round pick, so I know you had your swag on yesterday.
Oh
So
yeah, just my hat, and I was just chilling in the cut. But
go.
yeah. So how you feeling? Because I don't even know who. I didn't give any mental time to anybody to Warrior. I seen something about they drafted or they picked up like signed a two-way deal for somebody, and I know they drafted a center, but I don't know. I didn't actually have any time to check that out today. So
And
hell,
that
I'm gonna be a fan and a listener too as we
exactly,
go along
right?
with this.
That is the point of our little show today. But let's recap. You want to start with the Warriors or you want to start with the Pistons? I say
Let's
Pistons.
start with the Warriors. Let's start with the Warriors. The Pistons
Why, man?
been because the Pistons been
All
the
right.
talk for forever. We had the fifth
Start with the
pick,
Warriors.
and
Start with
y'all
Dub
had
Nation.
yeah, y'all had what
Well,
picks?
so okay, actually, that's a great question that you say that. We started out the day with the 52nd overall pick, right?
Only.
Only,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Our first round pick, prior to the draft, it went to Portland as part of a prior trade obligation, right? From there, and that was the 14th overall pick. From there, Portland traded that pick to Washington for Denny Avdija,
Oh, okay.
right? And so, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this is where it gets interesting. About 2 hours prior to the start of the second round of the draft, it was announced that the Warriors had traded the 52nd overall pick straight up to OKC for Lindy Waters,
I
right?
seen that. I seen the Bleacher
Yeah,
Report notification
right.
for it.
Now, okay. Everybody seems to think, well, not everybody, but I think a lot of people seem to think like I'm just always optimistic, like I like every player, So this is gonna be funny because a lot of people like the normal reaction for a guy like Lindy Waters, a player of that caliber or obscurity, I guess you could say, right? Like, why do people take the time to actually type who, right? Like to respond to Woj. Like, why don't you just like take that time and Google it, right? Like the
Google,
same,
yeah. I
you
was
know?
just about to
But
say that.
anyway, again, for those people that do believe that about me, you'll laugh because I like Lindy Waters. I've followed his game for a long time,
I
and
mean,
like,
people shouldn't be asking why do you like somebody though. Like, why take the time to try to dislike somebody,
well, no, not even like
especially at
that.
this stage?
It's just like the idea that like, oh, um, yes, we are basketball junkies, but like I don't need to Google who Lindy Waters is. I guess that's my point. Like, I do think he's got talent,
Yeah.
and I do think it was a worthwhile pick. And I guess basically, so for our listeners, if you haven't already since then Googled who Lindy Waters is, he is a swingman, a shooting guard, small forward, 6'6", got some nice length, about 210 pounds. And he's a shooter. He's a shooter. I mean, his shot is as pure as it gets. Um, he's actually, I wouldn't say he's like uberly athletic, but he's got some decent athleticism.
Yeah.
He's got a great handle. He has no problem putting the ball on the floor. The thing is that like 80% of his field goal attempts are 3-pointers, and like almost like 90% or 95% of his field goals, like, or basically only like less than 5% of his field goal attempts are actually at the rim. So basically, he's
Okay.
not a rim finisher. He is a shooter, whether it's mid range, 3-pointer, he's shooting. So, like, even when if he's attacking a closeout, he's still going to pull up. He's not taking it all the way to the cup, right?
Okay.
But the thing about Lindy Waters, this is where I tell people all the time. Like, I mean, if everyone can agree that the NBA is the most talented league in the world,
Hmm.
then why should it come as a surprise that like there were just better players ahead of Lindy Waters? It's something that he did wrong,
All right.
you know. Lindy Waters had extended run with OKC before they drafted Jalen Williams, right? Like before Josh Giddey. That's how long he's been there, you know?
Yeah.
And then like just, you know, he got kind of pushed back to the road, you know, to the end of the depth chart.
Right.
But I mean, for the Warriors, they just need like cheap, cost-controlled, playable depth. And the thing is, like, even though a lot of fans who say who, right? Even though you don't know who Lindy Waters is, front offices do, and he's been in the league for like 4 years now. You know, 4 or 5 years. So what I'm saying is, he's got experience. He's got, you know, like he is not a project. Like the Warriors can't continue waiting. Like they need guys that can step in and play now. You know, you can say if you want to say that's like a short-sighted thing, okay. But I mean, like, I guess the way Mike Dunleavy Jr. looked at it is that is there at least at the time prior to the beginning of the second round, was there a player? Did he project a player to be there that could be as productive, if not more productive, than Lindy Waters? I think the answer was no. You know, so they made the trade. From OKC's perspective, right? I think it's they could not afford to have dead money on their cap, so it's kind of like a salary dump. You know, as they're trying to reshuffle, you know, to kind of make sure that they keep themselves, you know, like as far out of the luxury tax as possible, stuff like that. But I mean, he can play,
right?
He can play. So we got Lindy Waters, but
So,
then
okay, go ahead.
No, good. You got a question?
I was gonna say, what does he shoot from three?
It's like 46%.
Seriously?
Yeah.
For his career?
I mean, I have to check, but he's well above 40. He's well above 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to be a Clay replacement?
So there you go. Like, if you do want to read deeper into it, to me, I think that the Warriors are angling to make a substantial trade. And this goes into our free agency talk. But let's go, right? It's all there. It's all there in the media. The Warriors are pursuing Paul George. Right. And in order to get Paul George, in all likelihood, a lot of our rotation players, whether that's Gary Payton, you know, Gary Payton II, Looney, Moses Moody, you know,
Wiggins,
they're all going to be sent out in one trade or another. I personally believe Looney, GP2, and Moody, they're all going to be gone at some point this summer in some various trade packages.
And what about Wiggy?
Him too.
Oh, okay.
Him too, potentially. Well, so what I'm trying to say is that, like, yeah, in general, we need more depth, but yes, this is already in anticipation. I think, yeah, Mike Dunleavy Jr. is already trying to start building the back end of the roster to prepare for potential departures from guys that are going to leave in trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got Lindy Waters, and for me personally, just because I got, like, even last summer, I believe he was a restricted free agent though, which is why I don't think he got that many contract offers. But like when he hit free agency, I was like, dude, if OKC doesn't bring him back, I want the Warriors to get Lindy Waters. So yes, I'm biased in that sense that, yes, I'm biased because I know who he is and I've done research on him. Like, I've watched him live, you know, because he's played a number of games in the G League.
Yeah.
You know, so we got Lindy Waters, but then it didn't end there. Okay. The draft went, teams are trading around their second picks, some going up, some going down.
All right.
So apparently OKC, they took that 52nd overall pick. I don't know what they attached to it, but then they sent it to Portland because Portland had the 40th overall pick. Okay. So OKC traded up to 40. Then after that, I guess Portland had some other second round picks. So by the time the 50s came up, like, they didn't want to make a draft selection anymore, right? Like, they were like, whoa, we already drafted too many rookies.
Yeah.
So Mike Dunleavy got back on the phone. He called Portland and he asked if he could buy back the Warriors' 52nd pick. And he did. Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, yes, right? It's like draft day, you know, when like Kevin Costner's like, I want my picks back.
Yeah.
You know, he did that. He did that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so when all is said and done, with the 52nd overall pick, the Warriors selected Quinten Post. He's a center out of Boston College. 7-footer, grown man strength. He's like 24 years old. Okay, he's
Okay.
got fifth year senior. 240 pounds, absorbs contact. He does not play small. He plays big. He's a good shot blocker, right? But here, get this: shoots 43% from three on volume. Yes, the Warriors finally got a legitimate stretch five.
Wow. Wow. Oh,
Now,
so
why is
he
he
can.
available?
No, go ahead. Let me.
Oh yeah, no, because a lot of people have said, well, Conrad, if he's that talented, why was he available in the second round? That's a great question. That's a great
Okay.
question. He was available in the second round because he lacks lateral quickness. That's not to say he's unathletic. In fact, his rim runs are pretty aggressive. His straight line, right, speed
Shaq.
is great. Yeah, but side to side, no good. So he will be a liability in the pick and roll, right? If they switch the pick and roll.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Warriors, their identity defensively is switch heavy. They don't always play switch heavy or switch everything.
No.
You know, sometimes they'll go into a drop. Sometimes they'll play in the zone. If Quinten Post gets like minutes, like substantial minutes, his ass is going to be in the paint. They want him blocking shots. That is his strength. They're not going to ask him like, "Hey, go out there and guard SGA." No. You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, I love it. A lot of Warrior fans, you know, if you don't really watch Boston College Eagles basketball, understandable. But once I think the rounds of highlight videos started going around social media and people started like going on YouTube to watch like his highlight reels, you're starting to see exactly like why he's a good fit. And yeah, so I mean, for the Warriors, that is technically our draft day haul. We come out with swingman Lindy Waters and center stretch five Quinten Post. So there you go. That's two new Warriors. Dub Nation, baby.
Who was the undrafted player they signed?
Okay. They signed Reese Beekman, a guard out of Virginia, defensive menace, just a pest. He's like kind of like a GP2 kind of guy, but like his 3-point. If actually the comparison to GP2 isn't so far off because Reese Beekman, his shooting is not good. You know, and GP2 his wasn't either when he came to the league. Like he had to really work to become like an adequate like catch and shoot guy. I think Reese Beekman's gonna have to get to that too. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, they signed him to a 2-way deal. You know, I mean, Santa Cruz. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I mean, there is so much the upsides there, but I mean, if I were to be cynical, if not pessimistic, a 4-year player with a big body of work, you know what I'm saying? Like a number of 3-point attempts. And they're like for his college career, he's like low 30s, high 20s. You know, like I'm skeptical as to what extent he can actually develop. But I mean, hey, right? Just, you know, you work on that. So that is what the Warriors did today. And for what it is, I like it. I like it. Specifically like Quinten Post. I mean, obviously the Warriors, they lacked depth at center. So it's really easy, you know, to see a path for him to get rotational minutes, you know, or at least to play throughout the season, you know. But I would not be surprised if Lindy Waters like showed something. Like I feel like I'm not saying he's better than Moses Moody.
Yeah.
But like for what just Kerr wants that position to do, he's probably better suited to do it. You know?
But wouldn't you keep Moody for defensive purposes on the Warriors?
Well, I mean, I'm just kind of assuming in general, yes, but I'm assuming he's gone. Like it's been 3 years and he's done, everyone agrees, even Kerr agrees, he's done everything right. but he still can't get consistent rotational minutes. Like, to me, it just I'm skeptical it's ever gonna like click here.
So
And you can blame Kerr.
should I say what I always say?
What are you gonna give us back,
him to the
man?
Pistons. I don't know, Marcus Sasser. Even though I don't want to give him up, but I mean, Moody
no,
comes
dude.
with a 3 and plays defense, and we need that. But I keep going, keep your breakdown going because I'm learning right now.
Oh no. I mean, in terms of the assessment of each player, I would say that's it. Like I said, I like them for what they are. Like, again, like if you just said like, oh my god, like these were our only moves that we made this offseason, then yeah, I'd say the Warriors are screwed. But no, I mean, I think this is like moves on the margin.
Yeah,
that could potentially pay off big time for the Warriors. So I mean, and that's savvy GMing
right.
by Mike Dunleavy Jr. For some people that are either impatient or just again, cynical, as to whether or
So
not he's capable.
So you do think that those moves in particular are en route to a Paul George deal?
I'm not saying that they are necessarily the precursor. It's just I feel like one, they definitely don't prevent any big move, whether it's Paul George or any other big player.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of sets up like a base for where the Warriors can build upon after the fallout from whatever trade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That trade would have to happen rather soon too, like because free agency is around the corner.
Well, I mean, so for Paul George, he has to the deadline for him to indicate whether or not he's going to opt in to the final year of his deal is this Saturday. So we need to have he needs to make because basically if he opts I wouldn't say the only, but realistically, the realistic way the Warriors could obtain Paul George is he needs to opt in to the final year of his deal, and then with the understanding that he is going to be traded, right?
Okay.
Ideally to the Warriors. Otherwise, he can opt out and just go sign as a free agent. But if he does that, the Warriors would not be able to open up the amount of cap space necessary to meet his contractual demands. Yeah, right. I mean, basically, the only teams that could realistically afford him are Orlando, Philly, you guys. But no offense, I'm taking you guys off the list because I don't, what I'm saying? I think he still wants to go to a competitive team. But I mean,
I mean, at this because he's 34, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't even seem like it. Jesus.
You forget that, man. Like he was the 2010 draft class.
Yeah. So, well, any more Warriors breakdown?
I mean, really, that's it. To me, what I will say is, again, I think I want to give props to Mike Dunleavy Jr. These were some really savvy moves, right? Again, it's not big, but like you see it across the league, right? Like Denver, buying when Bruce Brown was kind of somehow getting him, and he slipped through the cracks of free agency and like signed him for like $5 million. Okay, I know that's not for the world. That's a lot of money, but in NBA terms, like end up being a bargain. So Lindy Waters and Quinten Post, they just exude Kerr type players, right? Like they exude Kerr vibes. And what I'm trying to say is, I think I'm not trying to throw shade at Bob Myers. Bob Myers is doing his job, right? I have a draft pick. I'm going to get who I think has whatever the potential highest ceiling or whatever,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like just because he had the highest ceiling doesn't mean he's automatically going to fit into Kerr's system. You could say that's a bad thing, that like trying to find players specifically to fit Kerr's motion offense is kind of limiting like the pool of candidates that could join the Warriors. That is potentially a bad thing. But until further notice, he is our coach and he signed an extension. And if we're going to succeed, we're going to succeed playing his way. So you know what? I'm glad that Mike Dunleavy Jr. is getting guys that he believes can play in Kerr's system. Right. And so far, if last year is an indication, Brandon Podjemski and Trace Jackson Davis, that's exactly what he's done. Right. So that gives me reasons for optimism. Now, they're
not going anywhere.
Who?
Pods and
TJD.
His name. Yeah, TJD.
I mean, okay, somebody asked me that the other day. They said, okay, Conrad, who do you think are the only like the untouchable players on the Warriors? Truly, the only untouchable players for me would be Steph and Draymond. Now, after that, I said, no, let me finish. I said after that, it would take a lot to pry away Pods and TJD, specifically Pods.
Jonathan? Like did something change?
No, like it's just.
Does he fit with the Curry
I truly believe. Okay, maybe I'm being delusional. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a homer. I just think that there is a way that Paul George can get to the Warriors with the Warriors not giving up Kuminga.
Oh, okay.
Because if he opts in, he could really just say like, I want to be traded. I don't, and I don't want to leave you guys SOL, because basically if he opts out and he just leaves as a free agent, right?
Yeah.
They lose that salary spot. Teams want to spend money, right? They want to spend more on players, but the cap, the CBA restricts that, right? So if he just leaves, they don't have the means to replace that $45 million roster spot, which is why that is what is the appeal of him opting in and then trading, that they can get some stuff back. And again, even if we throw back contracts at them that aren't going to be there long term, it again allows them
to flip from there.
Reflip them. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, how do we get to $45 million? Well, I mean, Chris Paul would have to be one of them. Right.
Doesn't he have a player option?
No. So he has a $30 million non-guaranteed final year.
And that's not till October.
It's like June. It's coming up also. It's like the 28th or the 29th.
So your team is better set up than I thought.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. If a move's going to happen, it's going to happen like in the next 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, they could negotiate with him. They're like, hey, man, like, we'll just give you $1 million right here on the spot. Can we push back your guarantee date? Because it's supposed to be an all or nothing guarantee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like either we guarantee you $30 million or we guarantee you nothing.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is, how do you get to $45 million? Well, I mean, there's Chris Paul at 30.
Yeah.
Then you take a pick. It's either Looney or GP2. They're both at around 9.
Right.
Right. Then you have Kuminga and Moody. They're around 6 and 5.
Okay.
So Wiggins. It doesn't have to be. No, that's too much money now. Now we're giving up too much. See, that's my thing. I feel like the Warriors, everyone's like, the Warriors need another secondary scoring option and a big man, like a starting caliber, ideally athletic big man, or just a starting caliber big man.
Right.
Right. I feel like you could get both, but you'd have to use the assets in 2 separate trades. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, make it like Chris Paul. Who do they want? Looney or GP2? Moody? Give him like some kind of protected first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You give us Paul George. Then in a separate trade, Wiggins and some other stuff. Find a big man out there.
Okay. Or what my Detroit faithful is going through right now with Drummond. Y'all can try to sign him from free agency, and he become the rebound of the of the. I mean, because who's the better? There, you guys don't really have just like a flat out rebounder on that team, so he could become the rebounder. You know what I
Now,
mean? Off the bench.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Make no mistake, I would be down for that. You know,
But it doesn't fit the Kerr way.
at the veteran minimum, hell yeah, you could fit the Kerwin.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
I'm about to say, I mean, he
At
doesn't
the
shoot.
veteran minimum, they'll find a way to make it fucking work. But the
Yeah,
problem is if he's truly accepting the veteran minimum again, like he did with Chicago,
yeah,
I would have to imagine, like right now, his value is pretty high. At least not contractual value, but right, like he's in high demand
yeah,
league wide. If it's at the minimum, then there's going to be
yeah,
so many teams like
yeah.
right lining up for his services at the minimum.
You're right.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like it, I don't know. You could maybe convince him that there would be a role for him, but you know, so that's that. So yeah, I mean, um, yeah, I mean, I think Warrior fans are kind of kind of in anticipation on pins and needles, kind of waiting for these things to drop. But I mean, like, if he opts in, then I wouldn't say it's an automatically like he's coming to the Warriors, but there you go, right? Like the dominoes are still falling in our favor.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. But as far as the draft goes, I mean, it really is like draft day, man. I mean, you start out with 52nd pick, you gave it away, and somehow you came back with 2 playable players. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Right.
And plus, Lindy Waters, I think, is like part Native American. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. It's like, so you guys went fishing, used the bait to get a fish, but the fish didn't eat all of the bait, and you still got the fish.
Exactly. Yes.
He just got hooked.
So that's state of the Warriors. Big things ahead. When you're drafting that far back in the second round, I mean, obviously you can only draft who's available. I mean, because people are like, oh, Conrad, who would you have wanted at 52? Well, I mean, like, these are the guys I wanted. But, like, for example, the guy I really wanted the most, I think he went, like, at 40, or 40-something, and the guy I was telling you about, Jonathan Mogbo, he ended up being the first. He was the first pick of the second round. So I was like, okay, well, there you go. So
that's a good segue. So you wanted the Pistons to get with our pick, and he, it's like, as I was looking him up, because I like looked at him, and then it was like he got drafted, and I was like, I had it in my pocket while I was working, and I had the ESPN app up at that time where they had like the little pull down where you could hit the arrow and they'll give you a little breakdown, and I'm just like, damn. And then I seen some people like, oh, this is such a Masai Ujiri pick and all of that, and I'm like, well, damn, he's gone already, you know what I mean? So I didn't know who we had next up in line, but just going back to yesterday, I would say, with us getting Ron Holland, because you were high on Ron Holland. Me, so okay, I was like,
for all our listeners, if you tuned into our pre-draft preview, we did offer a couple names who we thought could be in the mix for Detroit at 5. Ron Holland was one that we talked about. So this is not us, victory lapping. This is just like, okay, we weren't completely far off on that.
No, we weren't. I mean, the episode is available. They can look at the time and date if they want to.
Exactly. No, I encourage you, please go back and watch it.
Yeah, because Detroit, we real big on. I mean, this draft we didn't really care. Some of us probably did. But we just wanted to get a good, decent kind of player if we were going to, get somebody worth signing. You know what I mean? If we were going to keep the pick, basically, because everybody wanted to trade down, get assets, because we're in how do we win now mode. You know what I mean? Like, how do we get to the play-in, playoff? That's what we want. We're tired of developing players. Like, oh, we're going to draft who? And then it takes 3 or 4 years, but then we got to retain them because they go through damn purgatory being here. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Right.
Before I get negative, I'll let you let everybody know how you feel about Ron Holland, because whether people know or not, for the viewers that are even watching now, like, Conrado used to be a scout. He's basically still one to me. So, in with the actual NBA. So don't sleep. Listen to what he's got to say, and go ahead. Give me your Ron, because I'm learning too. Like I said, I'm a live fan right now. I'm a live fan right now.
No, I mean I made you watch some Ron Holland film, before the draft. I mean, I think the shock comes, and again, I think the shock from fans of Ron Holland going at 5 was that going into the draft, like literally going into yesterday, like yesterday morning, there was a report that 2 players could potentially see a substantial slide down the draft. Rob Dillingham, who ended up going 8th.
Yeah, that's not a
right,
slide.
to Minnesota. I know, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, if anything, where he was mocked, that's even higher.
Yeah.
And then the same one, Ron Holland, who was also mocked like kind of in the
like,
mid lottery, like in the teens.
Yeah, like 12 last.
Right. So the 2 guys that they said would fall end up going significantly higher than they were projected. So I mean, this could tell us a number of things. One, mock draft people suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
2, agents are spreading, right, like false rumors to throw people off, which that does happen.
Right.
And then 3, well, I mean, there's a lot of things, but third is, again, it just goes to show that this year, this specific draft class, there was no consensus.
No.
Like on any player.
No.
Because even Zachary Richeche going number 1 was still kind of a surprise. Not surprise, but like there was still uncertainty,
Yeah. Because it could have
up
been
until
Montas.
maybe like, no, I mean at number 1.
Yeah.
Like it could have been Donovan Clingan, maybe sorry, but anyway, yeah. So for Ron Holland, I mean, I've talked to a number of people. I respect their opinion, and everyone can make a great case. I've had people that had him like in the late lottery, like in like the teens, like what we thought. And then I know some people that had him at number 1 overall. So as far as they're concerned, the Pistons got a steal when you look at it that way. Okay, but going into it, Ron Holland, the prospect. Yes, he is a project. But I know like you and I were high on Matas, right? And for everyone, I am on the record. I had Matas at 1. I had Ron Holland at like 3 or 4. I think my final big board.
Yeah.
But Ron Holland, you said, okay, like I gotta wait a couple years, and then what? What should I expect to see, or what would be the ideal outcome? Well, first, I would have said the same thing about Matas. If you're going to see the best version of himself, it's still going to be in 2 years, maybe 3. So I think in that regard, at least for Pistons fans, like the guys that we were all discussing, with the exception of Dalton Connect, all of them needed developmental time.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now for Holland, how do I say this? I think I told you this on the pre-draft preview episode. At his best, like I just see a lot. I see a lot of Andre Iguodala in him.
Yeah, you did mention that.
And the more I watch it, like even like after he was drafted, I just want to say like, wow, because again, we weren't expecting him to go at 5. So I just sit down and just find myself watching even more film on him. And it's like, it's Andre Iguodala. Like it really is.
Even on the defensive end?
No, especially on the defensive end.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to this.
I know.
I'm going to hold you to this.
Because like last night, I was even like contemplating when you and I were talking about it. I was like, okay, man, if he thinks that's a lofty projection, who else?
Iguodala
and then I was
lofty.
I know. And then I was going to say Luol Deng. And I'm like, that's freaking lofty too.
Well, I would take, Luau before the spinal. And
no, that's what I'm saying.
Or the misdiagnosis.
I'm talking like Chicago Luol Deng.
Oh,
like Chicago Luol Deng.
Yeah.
No, so Holland, arguably the most athletic player in this entire draft.
Ron Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
Like the speed, the athleticism. Because again, remember what we talked about? You and I have talked about this a lot on our show here.
Yeah.
We can evaluate raw athleticism.
Yeah.
But then it's not until the games happen when you can actually evaluate functional athleticism. Right? How is a player capable of leveraging their athletic traits in a live game situation? Like I said, right? For example, Jamario Moon could jump out of the gym.
Yeah, he could.
unless it's like, he's cherry picking or it's something, right? Like in transition, he's not doing anything with that athleticism.
Right.
Ryan Hollins, physically gifted, 7 foot center, but it's nothing, right? Like he could not utilize it in game.
Right.
Ron Holland, because he has such a good handle and everything, completely unlocks everything. It's like Zach LaVine. Well, they're not. But I'm saying, right, Zach LaVine has a nice handle, and because of that, right, it's never like he can stop and go like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like on a dime, right? He can burst, like the burst, you know. So he's just going like and he's strong. Like he can go through guys, but he can go up and over guys, Um,
Okay.
which right now, again, if now we're gonna go to a little bit of his not like a weakness is yes, his shooting is inconsistent, as you said. You looked at his percentages. The thing about it though is, but then again, the reason why I like Iguodala is because I actually am a big believer in his playmaking.
Ron Holland.
Yes, Ron Holland. Iguodala, I mean, he's definitely to be fair, Iguodala, right, he went 3 years at Arizona.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a complete 1-for-1 comparison. But what I'm trying to say is Iguodala's early years playing alongside AI, right? He was just this amazing secondary ball handler, secondary playmaker, right? And in his younger days, he was a little bit more willing of a scorer,
Yes, he was.
And then by the time AI left, Iguodala was like running the show. He was doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But when he eventually made his way to the Warriors, right? That was when he was at his best in terms of like everything is clicking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because now you're playing alongside Steph. At the time, playing alongside Bogut, Draymond, right? You have all these other great passers that your own playmaking now is only further amplified.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Ron Holland, to me, he has that ability. For people who are skeptical of his playmaking, it's because on the G League Ignite, because of a series of injuries and underperformance, they basically had to make him the full-time point guard.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, at such a young age, it was kind of like exacerbating the holes in his game.
Okay.
But if he were to play alongside guys like Cade or even Jaden Ivey, I think Asar's passing is underrated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you're getting the best version. You're getting what he does well. Again, secondary, tertiary ball handler, playmaker.
Yeah.
Because he sees the court well, but when he's like, with the G League Ignite, because nobody else could handle the rock, he's getting blitzed every time. Of course he looks like a fool,
Yeah.
So that's why I am still, I'm very high on him. Obviously, yes, the shooting needs to come around if he's going to truly be like a complete player.
Yeah.
But if we're just looking at his playmaking, his ball handling, his playmaking, his defense, then yes, I agree with all those people that had him at number 1. He has every reason to be number 1.
Wow.
Like I'm still, even this morning, I'm still thinking about Zachary Richichet going number 1. Like that's gotta be like the fucking lamest number 1 pick in a while, man. And I'm sorry, if he becomes like a fucking 10-time All-Star, you could shove this in my face. But I'm like, dude, you just drafted a guy number 1 who can't like comfortably dribble the ball. That is insane to me. Like a wing. It's one thing to do it like draft a big man.
You already know what they're gonna say. He don't got no bag. They're gonna be quick to say that. Yeah. So
I mean, like, so that's why, like, I am with you. I was surprised just because all the pre-draft hype had, or lack of hype, had Ron Holland going lower in the draft.
Yeah.
But,
Matas and Connect were the two that dropped.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
So now that you've had time to think about it, you had a night's sleep. You and I've kind of talked about it. And clearly, I am biasing you, but I mean, what are
Yeah,
your thoughts now? Like, at least you weren't necessarily down on the pick. I think you were down on the process, which we'll get to in a sec. But I mean, like,
yeah.
do you like? Do you think that like this is? Are you more happy then with this Pistons core now than you were before, or like do you feel kind of the same?
I'll say yes only because of his. Well, two reasons. Because we have Fred Vincent
See,
and
yes.
and um. Hold on, let me grab the statistics for those that don't know, and I think I screenshotted it, so it should be
Oh, is
pretty
this the
local here.
improvement? The improvement of the players he's worked with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I just want people to know, because I went right into work, and they're like, "What you think about what do you think about the draft pick or whatever?" And I'm just like, "Well, this is what I think about it." Okay, so yes, Fred Vincent got Lonzo Ball from 32% to 38% from three. Um,
Hmm.
Brandon Ingram from 33 to 37. Herb Jones from 33 to 42.
That's huge.
Yes, that's crazy.
Wait, what was
Najee
Alvarado's? Oh, go ahead.
Alvarado's was 29 to 38.
Yeah, dude.
Najee Marshall was 34 to 39. So if this, like, Fred Vincent is like basketball shooting Jesus now. um, if that's true, then that means Cade shot, even though he's had his own shot, he's been steady, gets better. That means Ivy finally gets a three that we've needed from him. So his ability to attack the rim could actually mean something because at the same time he could still pull up. So he becomes a true triple threat as opposed to, oh, just drop coverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, that means Isaiah Stewart, who's been improving from three, actually gets even better. He might mess around and be a 38-40% shooter if he can keep on trending upward.
Wasn't he like
Um,
38 last year or last season?
he was something like that, like
Yeah.
37 or something like that. Like he was not bad at all. And I
He's
don't
gonna
know
fit in so
why.
great with the Warriors, man. Don't worry.
No, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
No, we got
Because
Quinten Post, man. We got Q Post now. We're good. You
no,
know.
y'all gotta send us something back. Y'all gotta send us something back because I well, I'm not
I
giving up
would.
Stewart. I'm not giving up Stewart anyway. But let me
Would you do
finish.
Moody? Would you do Moody for Stewart?
No, I'm not giving up Stewart.
There you go. All
I'm
right.
not giving up Stewart. Um, you can hear me pretty well, can't you? Chief? I'm
Oh yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Where else was I going with this? Yeah. So and All-Star
Fred
Thompson.
Vincent.
So yeah, All-Star Thompson with Fred Vincent. So if Ron Holland is gonna basically be along the lines of those types of players, and yes, Pistons fans, don't be mad at me, but I wish we got Fred Vincent last year before Summer League, and still they're gonna kill me for this. Still had Killian Hayes just to see, you know what I mean, just to kind of see because I liked Killian Hayes defense, I like Killian Hayes playmaking, and we were better composed as a team on offense with him playing. You know what I mean? Like he was,
Yeah.
especially when Cade was out. Like Cade go out, we die. But when Killian was here, we still kind of have some type of like organization to us. But okay, whatever. Long story short, he's gone. So I mean, he helps Marcus Sasser. He helps everybody. Like that means he can help unlock Jalen Duran because Jalen Duran at Memphis was shooting mid range jumpers. You know what I mean? James Wiseman he was at Memphis too, and he was looking like he could shoot a couple mid ranges here or there. He only played 3 games, so we don't really know. But he takes those
Yeah.
jumpers now, and that would actually help his game. That opens up the pick and roll, pick and pop situation even more for the both of them. Um, and it just overall makes the whole entire Pistons team better. Like Fred Vincent can really up his resume. He could become one of the most coveted assistants ever in basketball history if he comes to this Pistons team and he improves all of the players I mentioned plus some.
I mean,
Like what? That's
you
gonna
you remember Chip England? Chip
no,
England? Oh, Chip Engelland was the legendary shooting coach for the San Antonio Spurs, right?
Okay.
And
All
so
right.
many,
That must
so
have
many
been from the
Spurs.
90s.
Into the 2000s. No, he was
Okay.
there for a long ass time,
Okay.
right? But
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many players he helped improve their jumper. But I mean, his greatest work is Kawhi Leonard. Because
Okay.
if you remember
Yeah.
Kawhi at San Diego State, that guy could not. No, he could no. He could not shoot a free throw. Like he could not even remotely shoot like a 4-footer. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
And now Kawhi's again. Now he's the exception, not the rule. But what I'm saying is like, again, that's the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, if Fred Vinson, if you could make like a SAR into like a legitimate like league average, like 36% shooter on volume, like 5 attempts per game.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, I'm extending you for like 10 years, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not leaving the building, man.
He's got to sign a no trade clause, no what's the no competitive clause with competing companies where they make it where you can't sign with this company without being away from this. You can't sign with that team without being away from us for like 2 years, bro. You can't do it. So you're not gonna leave. We're gonna pay you. You know what I mean? And we'll even put a clause in there that says if somebody wants to buy you out, we'll just match you. Like, go home, sit down, shut up. We need you. Seriously. Like I would keep him here as long as possible. That's who should have got the damn Monty Williams deal. Shout out to Monty Williams. Much love and success to you. But yeah, that for like a good 10-year deal, yeah, I'd give him 100 or 80 mil, whatever. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't even have to broadcast it. We'll just throw something out there and that's just lying. Like, oh yeah, he's an assistant. He's only getting paid 2-3 million, whatever. Yeah, okay. Come put your hands under the table, sir. Here, take that.
On the long, okay.
Take that extra money.
Okay, there you go. That looks better because when your hands lower, it looks a lot more awkward, man.
Yeah, take that extra money.
No, but along this line of the importance of coaching, you made a great point last night, and you and I were talking about like, I can sell you, or the Trajan Landon, we can all sell you on the idea of Ron Holland, but you said like it doesn't really matter much if they don't have the right coaching, the proper guidance.
Yeah.
And this morning I was thinking about what you're saying, and it's like you said, one of your favorite Pistons draft picks, Chris Middleton. Mm-hmm. He is great. He just didn't end up being great with the Pistons. Right. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I mean, they literally gave him away.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
And he had to
beg. He had to beg the Lakers to pay him. Not beg. You know what I'm saying? Like he had to settle for like a small deal to like kind of rebuild up his value around the league. Bruce Brown.
That's true.
Just kind of kicked to the curb. So I guess what I'm saying is, I think you make a great point about how, because I think now a lot of fans, their perception of the Pistons' top players is not very high,
right?
Because it's only associated with the results, and the results are you guys are a 14 win team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what is it then that you're looking for in this next head coach? Like, what is it then? Like, whatever, what qualities, tangibles or intangibles, are you looking for that you believe is like necessary to really not get the best out of these guys, but to put it all together? Because that's the thing. Like, I feel like some of your past coaches could do one or the other, but they could never do, and some couldn't do either, but,
I don't even know what to say, because we can believe something is going to come from them and then they just don't pan out, and I'll give Stan Van Gundy a pass because he was actually pretty good. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of who was it. Stan when we had, we didn't, I don't think he was here was he here with Brandon Jennings? That's a good question. I forget, but we need a coach that's like a development coach, or he has development coaches on his staff. We need a coach that is strong, a leader of men, Um, we need somebody that's gonna be outspoken against, if it's a bad call, go ahead and Mike Brown the media with the computer. Oh yeah, here, let pull up the laptop on the ass. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, look at this play right here. Yeah, look at this. And then,
David
bring
Fisdale.
it up.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Take
yeah.
that for
Take
data.
that for data. I mean, bring him in with him. I want, long story short, I think that individual, because he's won championships, he's an ex NBA player. He's won, I believe, 2 championships as an assistant coach, and just one now with the Celtics, and that's Sam Cassell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, somebody who has the NBA experience. He's been, of course, he played the college game, he played the NBA game, he's played with high level players. He's seen and played against other high level players. He's played against, like the Jordans, the Kobe's, you know what I mean? Like, he's seen that.
Right.
He's played alongside Kevin Garnett. He's just got done coaching the Jason Tatums. Like, that's the type of range he has. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. What's the Brian Windhorst? Let me.
Oh,
He has that range. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
yeah.
like, bro. And okay. Shout out to JJ Redick. Congratulations on winning the Lakers head coaching position. But you mean to tell me Sam Cassell has all this coaching experience plus playing experience, and he can't get a head coaching job? I want him in Detroit unless Borrego is supposed to be better or something
I
like that.
mean,
But
I think it's insane. Oh, sorry.
I would rather have Cassell put Borrego on your staff and then put whoever else on your staff. You know what I mean? Sweetney, if they want him, just put them on the staff.
Mika
But let
Nori.
Sam Cassell, like, build a staff that's like that good. You know what I mean? Because we need everything we can get in Detroit. I'm
I know.
more 14 and 60 fucking 8.
Yeah. There is no rhyme or reasoning sometimes to head coaching hires.
Yeah.
And I love Steve Nash, the player. I'm not even necessarily overly critical about Steve Nash, the coach, but I mean, he even admitted, like, yes, it was because of his personal connections he got that job.
KD,
like, he didn't earn it. He didn't earn it.
Yeah.
And all that is to say, like, I find it incredibly, like, if I'm Sam Cassell, like, I don't know, like, I guess that is what makes him a great leader, is that he can put his own ego aside. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's obviously a better man than me, because I would be extremely fucking offended, right? If you're asking me, the call you make me, Jeannie Buss or whomever, Rob Plinkett, you're calling me not to be a head coach, but to be JJ's assistant. Yeah. Like, that to me is just so insulting. Like, and again, right? We're not NBA coaches. I guess they process these things differently, but
it's like honoring me, but not honoring me correctly. It's like saying, "Oh, we believe that you're smart enough to help him be a better coach quicker, but we don't want to let you be the head coach." And it's just like, so why am I going to train him to be in the position? That's like training, man. Go ahead. Keep going.
Like basically. No, I think you're saying it perfectly. I didn't even think of it that way. But you're basically
replacement. But he's
not even a replacement. You're training the guy to prevent you from advancing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the weirdest thing to me, and I don't know. It's a tangent, but it's just like, I don't know. All the more reason. That's why I would want to. Yeah, I was saying I was a guest on the Game Break Now podcast earlier this week, doing a final mock draft. Yeah.
Oh, let everybody know where they can find it, because I didn't even know.
Oh yeah. We did it like Tuesday night, the night before the draft. We did one final mock draft. Took like 2.5 hours.
Okay. You said it was a pod too, right? It's a pod. Okay.
Yeah. But it's just, we were talking about that, like, because I drafted on behalf of Detroit in the mock draft, and they said, "Okay, Conrad." And of course, I drafted Matas. Right? Okay. And they're like, "So who's going to coach Matas?" And I said, "Sam Cassell. It should be Sam Cassell." Like, at this point, of the most qualified candidates that but we'll see. We'll see.
It should be Sam Cassell. But let's let's because we cut it off after Ron Holland, and
Oh no, no, it's cool.
like I let everybody know, you are
No,
the scout. You are the scout.
segueing back in
Yeah, let's go back and
because
just cover the.
whoever the Pistons hire, he is not just coaching Ron Holland. There are other rookies on the way.
Yeah, and go ahead
For
in on them because
so
I learn from you when you speak. So because I don't have the scouting acumen that you have. Let's go.
oh no, the Pistons started day 2 of the draft. They started with the 53rd overall pick, one spot behind the Warriors, right? Where you and I often joked about the Pistons taking Bronny or something, right?
And call
sure
the
enough,
Lakers.
which
Rob, we got him. We robbed him, Rob. What are you going to give us for him? No, for real, that's what I would have did. The Pistons have traded back to the Lakers the such and such pick.
give me
with
like
Bronny
LeBron's
James.
autograph or something, right? Like
I
you don't even need to give me a draft pick,
that money
man.
could be used to
Exactly.
help sign somebody for real. I mean, we
You
could
probably get more money for that autograph than like the pick itself, right? Like if I'm selling the pick, you know.
Yeah. And it's funny, I was listening to XM at that time, and I forgot who called in, but I guess he had some relationship or just some understanding of how Red Auerbach used to operate, and he was like, if Red Auerbach was the coach of the Boston Celtics, he would have drafted Bronny, and he'd have said, "Now what, Lakers?" Or he would have said, "No." He said he would have called Rich Paul and LeBron and said, "We have Bronny. What are you gonna do?" And
There
I
you
just
go.
started laughing. I'm like,
There you go.
"Yeah, we need chaos. Like, why not chaos? Like, why not throw a monkey wrench in there just to get out of it what you can get out of it? Make them pry
Survivor
Austin
chaos.
Reeves." Or pry Austin Reeves from them or something. The person they don't really want to give up, or help make them give up like Jared. Don't they still got Jared Vanderbilt?
Who?
Yeah, the Lakers.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
That's
run
right.
Jared Vanderbilt. If I was the Pistons, we should have did that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we got Bronny James. What you gonna give us for him? We got the money to take him.
Well,
Jared
speaking of
Vanderbilt,
that,
run him.
on that note of absorbing contracts, right?
Yeah.
As Trajan Landon, so segueing back in, Trajan Landon did say that the Pistons would use some of their cap space to absorb, some kind of unwanted deals.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, they should be guys that could potentially be playable for Detroit. So today, the Pistons started with the 53rd overall pick. They made a trade with Minnesota to jump all the way up to 37. And in order to jump up to 37, the Pistons absorbed the contract of Wendell Moore II. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who he was?
Yes, and then no.
Okay, right. So for some of our fans, because
on 2K before.
There you go.
I just forgot.
No, I think a lot of fans have forgotten because, frankly, he hasn't done anything
no.
in the NBA. So he's just completed, I believe, his second year, I think, in the league. So he's a small forward out of Duke. Kind of had a late rise in his respective draft process, right? Like, kind of projected as a mid-second round pick, and then all of a sudden shot up to be like a late first rounder.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, like, everyone's like, oh, the Minnesota, man, the Timberwolves, they're making such a savvy pick and everything. And my gosh, they're just getting deeper. And it hasn't clicked. It hasn't clicked for him.
Yeah.
In any facet of the game. And I'm not trying to pick on him, but like, if we're really trying to grasp on straws here, I don't think there are any,
Right.
Some of it was due to injury during his rookie year. But since then, by all accounts, he's been fairly healthy. And even his G League stints have been pretty underwhelming. So right now, this is very much, like for Minnesota, this is a salary dump. Like a salary dump.
Yeah.
Like this isn't like a cap casualty. Like, oh, this guy's good, but we need to cut some salary somewhere.
Yeah.
No, this is like they're getting him off their books because he's not playable. All right. So we'll start just real quick with Wendell Moore. I mean, all the more. Maybe he ends up just getting waived. I don't know. You have that flexibility. If he's not right for the time being, there's no problem taking him to summer league. There's no problem taking him to training camp, unless you just need an extra spot. Because I mean,
or need his salary for another flip.
Exactly. Right? Flip him again.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the very least, he sticks on the roster for a little bit and you stick him in the Motor City Cruise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And see if
the
you got something
Pistons,
there.
I know we keep getting away from the draft, but I'm gonna just throw this out here real fast.
No, this is draft relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'll save it for the free agency episode.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean it could be spoke of there, to be honest.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, it's relevant to talk about, just like I was talking about today about Lindy Waters in terms of this is a part of the draft day haul. Wendell Moore, for all intents and purposes, is part of your guys' draft day haul. So no, I don't think he's going to be a contributor. And I know a lot of you guys, like a lot of your players are young, some of whom are like very much projects.
Yeah.
I guess you can categorize him in there too and see if he can emerge. But yeah, I don't want to be like pessimistic, don't want to completely like just write some guy off, but it hasn't clicked. And like you'd have to do a deeper dive to kind of figure out what's not going right,
Yeah.
But so that's that.
Yeah. But we got that 37th pick though.
But there you go.
That's the big part.
So with the 37th pick, so yeah, I mean, I was hoping Jonathan Mogbo would be available for you guys, and I know you seem to have been pretty captivated by Mogbo's by his tape, and he's great. So I mean, I do agree. I think the Raptors got a Raptors type player, and I think they're gonna love him. But what the Pistons did get, it's funny because you were so interested in Mogbo when I was about to text you my other candidates was the guy that you picked at 37. I'm not joking. Bobi Klintman. Okay. He actually was. So both of them I had ranked as like late first rounders.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's still good value. Klintman they call him like a combo forward.
Yeah.
Like a 3-4. In my opinion, I think he's more of a 4 and I like him there.
Yeah.
I think you saw some of the film I sent you of him. Klintman, he's really athletic. He's really long. Yeah. Got great end-to-end speed. Really great with the ball in his hands. Really good,
Yeah.
Really smooth, but he can finish with a lot of power. Moves his feet well. Fundamentally, he makes good decisions. Like he processes the game pretty quickly.
Right.
So again, a lot of your fans.
IQ then. He's got good
high IQ. Yeah, pretty high IQ. I mean, like he can really process and make good decisions quickly. I'm not saying like you want him to like play point forward or anything, but it's just when the ball gets in to his hands, he's not a black hole.
Right.
But some people say if he's that good, Conrad, why was he available in the second round? Okay, that's a fair question. Part of it was because I think he was incorrectly played. So he played 1 year at Wake Forest, right? And then he was thinking about, I think, either going back or transferring, going to the portal. And then he decided, F it, he went to NBL, right? Australia. And unfortunately, I think he himself, I don't think did anything wrong, but I think the team utilized him incorrectly.
Yeah.
And therefore, it kind of exacerbated, like it really showcased his weaknesses a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be a wing player. I think he specifically is a big, like a front, because he is athletic, he is fast, but it's the same thing, right? He doesn't have
wing speed.
Elite, yeah, he doesn't have elite mobility. Lateral. It's more so the lateral quickness.
Okay.
And so when he's guarding on the wing, he got beat a lot and it looks bad. Now, when they play him at the 4, he's an excellent weak side defender. Right. Nice weak, like help side blocking and everything like that. He reads, the situation well as to when to help or when to stay on his man. Those are the things that I think he could do well. Like he does that well, and he can do a lot more of that with the Pistons, right? Like they have like Asar, right? Like they have some wing players that should be exclusively on the wing, you know, or at least primarily that is going to be their assignment. So I feel like Klintman is in a good spot. Like you know, and same thing, you know, like he's a great connective passer. It
Right.
will he's not going to like rack up a lot of assists, but it showed, you know, like he's going to keep a lot of offensive fluidity. So I think you guys between Ron Holland and Klintman, I think again both athletic. As we said earlier, toolsy. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they obviously have some definitive holes in their game, but it seems like they're in the position where they can improve upon that, you
Yeah.
know, and in the immediate term, like immediately, they can kind of be masked. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope so. Because
Yeah.
we need everything we can get. And, you know, I would turn this immediately into a who do we trade for? What do we do movement? But that'll be a future episode. Probably Sunday, Monday ish, probably be out. But because when is free agency officially? The
June
Monday?
30.
So
Yeah.
what's that? It's Friday, Saturday. So that's
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, so yeah, we'll
Maybe we'll do a free agency episode before that. A quick one, just because I already have a bunch of names for you guys. Some people like my ideas for you guys. Some people don't.
okay.
Like they're like, "What's wrong with you, Conrad?" I'm like, "Dude, okay, if you actually really look at it, it
Yeah.
makes sense."
I mean,
No, but I mean, uh, obviously, like I know outside of like the top guys like Matas and Holland and Sar and all them, you know, Klingon,
yeah,
Castle, or
yeah,
any one of the guys that you were projecting at 5 for the Pistons.
yeah.
So I can
Connect.
understand if you're not as you're not as a connect. I know you're not as familiar with the prospects that went later in the draft, but just like after Holland, was there at least a position that you were particularly looking to fill, or just like anyone that made sense?
Anybody that made sense. That's I
Yeah.
mean, maybe if we're gonna have Cade at the one, there's still a small part of me that wants to take him off the ball, move him to the 3. If we're gonna keep Ivy, get a point guard that can put Cade off the ball because he's good spot up. And make it where he doesn't have to have all the ball handling responsibilities, but he still can, if you know what I mean. Like get another playmaker on the floor with him. Because is Ivy really that much of a playmaker all the time? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it depends on the matchup. We need somebody who's secondary ball handler all the time. You know what I mean? Hell, if that's damn Chris Paul, then bring his ass over here and put Kate at the 3. You know what I mean? If that's Russell Westbrook, bring his ass over here and put Cade at the 3 because Cade has another level of his game that could be unlocked, but he can't continue to like people are like, oh, but Cade, you know, throughout the whole season, oh, but Cade got this many turnovers. Cade got that many turnovers. Okay, well, yeah, he had to figure out everybody the first 20 games when it should have only took 10 or 12. Yeah, he had to deal with everybody adjusting to his pace because Cade's not playing breakneck. You know what I'm saying? And that's another part of me that the reason why I want him to get off the ball is because if we got a point guard that's breakneck, Cade can still play his pace. He can still change the pace when he gets the ball if he wanted to, change the whole scope of what type of play we're running. You know what I mean? Like make it where it's just two dynamics going on all at the same time, but and still let whoever is doing the fast breakish, more fast paces. I'm extending words here, a more
Nice.
fast paced type of offense, still let
You're
those people,
innovating. You're
yeah, I mean,
innovating.
let them kind of because some players will play better like that. You know what I mean? Like some
Yeah.
players are 7 seconds or less. Some players are half court offense. Cade is like, you're not gonna rush me to do shit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and that's good. I mean, it's good for regular season, it's good for playoffs, but sometimes you need pace to keep up with certain teams, like the Kings or something like that, like the Warriors when they start shooting in flurries, and you know what I mean. So it also just opens him up because, like I said again, he's a good spot up. He can catch the ball, cut in mid range. Like he has moves. You know what I mean? That could have some better utilization if he could get off the ball some more. But with him on ball, he looks like he's hoarding the ball a little bit more because he's trying to probe and wait for something to get open. A lot of the players are killing the play. You know what I mean? The defenders
Yeah.
are killing the plays, and then he has to create something just off the fly, as opposed to having somebody he could dribble hand off to or kick it to, reset, and then get in another type of, like, I guess, run a little bit of motion in a sense. You know what I mean? But it's been one dimensional. I don't know how much that has to do with coaching, with what we had with Monty. Maybe he was trying to force something. Maybe that's why he started Killian instead of Ivy to start the season, and whatnot. So it's hard to really have a vision of what I want in this team or in a free agent without really knowing, like, really the Pistons need to be hiring a coach like tomorrow before I
Yeah.
have any type of idea. And then if it is Sam Cassell, please, basketball guys, please, God. Like, usually I don't send up basketball stuff to God himself, but God, the basketball guys, but God. No idols before you. So please,
Dude,
God, give us Sam Cassell in Detroit. We need him. And
I remember during my playing
let us go
days
from there.
and my running days, so many times I'd be like praying and be like, God, I know I shouldn't be asking you for a win. I was like, but so then I would I knew I was like even lying to myself. I'm like, can you bless me so that I stay healthy so that I can win?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
mean, hey, we need him because the Pistons been trash since '09. I mean, I'll say 2010 because we were more atrocious. At least in '09, we won 39 games. '10, it was like 25 or 22, 27, something like that. It was in the 20s, but we were on
That's the
the
funny thing,
downturn. That was like when
right?
Tayshaun was getting ready to leave and all that.
There was no overlapping because I was thinking about this. I think yesterday before the draft. It's like, man, when you guys were like at your peak,
Yeah.
of like the Chauncey, Tayshaun era, all that, like
Mhm.
the Warriors were always in contention for the number one pick. And what I'm saying, like, I just remember always thinking like, okay, I'm paying attention to all these prospects. I'm scoreboard watching in the sense that I want more losses,
Right. Yeah.
and you guys were the opposite, right? You're
Mhm.
looking for number one seed, you're winning things. And by the time that finally happened for me, it's on the opposite for you guys, man. So
Yeah. So
I guess every team truly has their time, their time in the spotlight.
it's that time because
Yeah.
it's usually been 20-year turnarounds. Like we did what, 88, 89. So 88,
No, 89,
2008,
90.
that was 16 years later we won. So then 20
Yeah.
years later from that is 2026. But then if you take another 4 years off of that, 2022, we passed the time that we
Yeah.
should be back in playoff contention. You know what I mean? We're just a natural, like, rotation of a team going through. Oh, damn, we was at the top. Okay, damn, then we kind of
Yeah, I
start
know.
decline. Then we start being middle, and oh, then we think that
And that's
somebody's
why
better than somebody else. Like, it's time for something else. It's time for us to get back
that's
to winning.
why I really, that what you said about, not just getting a coach, getting the right coach,
Mm-hmm.
the right coach with the right philosophies is stuck with me because it's true. It's like you look, it's easy at the time, like a lot of fans, again, they'll just say, they'll look at the record. So they'll say all those players on that team, you suck. And yet, all those players go
Yeah.
on to play well elsewhere. So clearly they didn't suck. It's just the system,
Right.
it didn't fit and it wasn't coalescing. So, I mean, that's what I feel like, again, what people are thinking now. And I think that's not the case. I think, I think they just need the right guidance. They need the right guy to put it all together. So
Mm-hmm.
we shall see.
We shall see. But I guess with that said, Warriors fans, Pistons fans, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. This is the reaction to the draft. We will have
A successful draft. A successful draft for both teams. Let's see what they do next. Yes.
Thank God, because I don't know, and it's good that we didn't do any teams beyond ours because I don't.
I don't really care to, man. I
I
already
would've
told
just-
you. There's some
I
teams
would've
I
been
don't really
holding the
care.
mic to your face, like, go ahead, continue what you're saying. What you
It's
say?
not even like that, dude. I already told you. Okay, just real quick before we go. Real quick before we go. Like, one of the things that I always laugh, if not, it annoys me, is on these draft shows. They say like, okay, there's this prospect, and okay, like, how's it gonna fit with this guy and that guy and this guy, dude? Like, especially for teams like the Hawks or the Wizards. Why are you wasting my time with that graphic? Why are you wasting your own time making that graphic? Like 3/4 of those guys, those players that you're putting on that graphic, they're not going to be on the team, you know? And that's what I'm saying, right? Like the draft, just get your talent, and figure it out,
Yeah. I mean, that's because that's what makes sense at the end of the day. But we'll be back soon.
On that note,
free agency coming up. So I guess we'll kind of dive into wish lists
just
and whatnot.
Some names, maybe some possible trade candidates.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun.
All right, everybody.
People. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Make sure y'all tell y'all friends to subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Whoever's watching right now, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you already aren't subscribed. Hit the like button on this thing, and we'll be back.
All right. Take care.
Take care.